Can you guys do me a favor? And please stop moving to Raleigh, North Carolina without doing the things I'm going to mention in this video. In fact, don't move anywhere without doing the things I'm going to mention. Because it's quite often I come across a story of an individual who relocated here from wherever, and a year or two later they find themselves going right back. So just save yourself the time, money, and effort by just doing these few things beforehand. Now, if you're new to me in this YouTube channel, we talk about everything you need to know about Raleigh, North Carolina. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out. But also, I am a licensed realtor here, so if you need any help with your relocation needs, just reach out. As I look at my list to see the things that I must discuss, I see two things that really pop out, and I don't think you should be avoiding this at all. But first priority, let's really understand where is Raleigh located. Looking at the map here, you can see that Raleigh is closer to inland, so wherever and whatever you've read that said Raleigh is close to the beaches or the mountains, let's scratch that out really quickly. I mean, it all depends on what you mean by close, but for me personally, being 2 hours from the mountains and the beach in either direction, I'm not that close. I can't walk, I can't take a bike ride to the beach or the mountains, so you're not close to either one. So if you expect one of those two scenes, Raleigh, you may want to reconsider Raleigh. But let's just say you're not worried about the mountain or the beach scenes. You're okay with where Raleigh is located. That's a good check. You can actually check that off your list to move forward, because we're going to take a deeper dive to ultimately help you prevent yourself from choosing the wrong area. Bringing the map back into the video, you can see there's a lot of different places that you can relocate to outside of that Raleigh area. I understand this is a channel that's about Raleigh, but there are a ton of suburbs, towns, cities that surround it, and I think those places sometimes they may get overlooked. I don't want you to overlook them because they may be exactly what you are looking for. Just to name a few, we have Gardner, Wake Forest, Holly Springs, Fuquay Varina, Zebulon. If you want to take it a step further, you can even look into Durham or even Chapel Hill. The best part is each place gives you their own feel. I had this conversation just the other day with a potential client who actually had specific needs and wants that they were looking for, and just by laying out those specific needs and wants, we could really have boiled it down. I mean, we had the entire Raleigh to work with, right? But just hearing the wants and needs, that enabled us to boil it down to 2 areas in itself, and those 2 areas are pretty much different, right? So it's ultimately going to be which one are you more looking for and which one's going to fulfill what it is that you want. I have these conversations all the time, and so it's important that you know what your wants and needs are, so that you know you're not looking at the entire map of Raleigh in itself, and you can really boil it down to the specific town, city, suburb, or even down to the subdivision. When you can do that, you're gonna be a gold mine. But let's just say you want to look for something that's more affordable. Looking on the outskirts of Raleigh, you're gonna have a bang for your buck there. For instance, Gardner may be still a potential depending on when you're viewing this video. Zebulon and Wendell maybe. I will say in those 2 areas you will find more new construction more than anything at the current moment. And let's just say you're looking for a slower down rural environment, then I would suggest looking at Fuquay Varina or even Clayton. But you can see here, and just in those specific areas I was mentioned, there's such a different feel in each and every one of them. It all depends on what it is that you're looking to do, and of course, if you need any assistance on that, you can either book a Zoom link on my calendar or just reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends, and let's talk about what your wants and needs are, and we can identify which area will be most appealing to you. Now that we have the area checked off and honestly out the way, we can now move forward into talking about purchasing the home. This step here may not apply to everyone, but if you need a loan, that means you're probably gonna need employment. So therefore, those are the 2 pieces that I would say sometimes gets forgotten. And honestly, if you guys want to be broke, that's all on you, but I prefer you guys not to, because that's how you're gonna support your lifestyle. So therefore, line up employment in North Carolina as well to see what are the job opportunities anyways. Do those salaries even support your lifestyle? And quite frankly, if you work from home, you have a huge advantage at this, but if you don't, you're going to need that employment in North Carolina before even securing the financing side. But let's just say you're still really early, you don't want to move forward yet, you don't even know if Raleigh is even a good fit for you just quite yet, and you want to be able to make the comparison. There are cost of living calculators comparisons that you can go ahead and do. Now, I don't know the accuracy of these things. This is good. You can use it for more of a guide rather than it to be real and true data. So I highly recommend and just suggest looking at that, making the comparison to see you know, where does it currently weigh with what your current situation is like. At this point, if you still have concerns about relocating to Raleigh, let's have an open discussion and drop your concerns in the comments below so we can all have an open discussion about it and you can hear from different perspectives other than myself. As I'm taking a look at my list again, I see that we're getting closer to the two most important things that I think you're going to want to do before relocating anywhere, not even just Raleigh. But before we get in there, I think also understanding how North Carolina real estate works is just as important, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation, and trust me, it's happened before. So, you know, for those who have purchased a home before, you know, there's this thing where you put a deposit down and that gives you the ability to do your inspections, to go on and see if this is a home you really want to move forward with, and you got the opportunity to back out, right? So North Carolina does things a little bit differently because there's actually 2 deposits on a North Carolina real estate contract, and one of them favor the sellers more than the buyers, and that's the one that I honestly say you want to understand entirely, because that can honestly change your entire perspective on North Carolina in itself. But if you, of course, you're relocating, you want to do this, then that's not going to really matter. If you do want any additional questions or concerns, or you have any additional questions or concerns on that, just reach out to me. This is essentially the moment we've all been waiting for, and I'm gonna add with emphasis, please do not avoid these steps, especially if you have kiddos. I get questions all the time when it comes to the school districts. How are the schools? What's the schools like? I've never been through it. I don't have any kiddos going through it, so I'm the least valuable person to speak on it. However, I think it's important to check out what are the schools and what's going on there. That's why I recommend checking out greatschools.org. They give you an intensive list, and honestly, they rate them as well from category to category, and you can take a look at that to give yourself a clear identification of what's going on with the schooling district or the school in itself that you're particularly looking at, if you are looking at, because honestly, you should be looking at it if you have kiddos. But let's take things a step further, right? Because North Carolina has an influx of individuals moving here on a regular basis, and that has impacted the school's capacity level, and some schools honestly are at overflow. So you're going to want to check that out as well to make sure that the school you are looking at is not at overcapacity, and that you can actually, you know, relocate to the area you're looking to relocate to and enroll your child into that school. So be on alert for that. Now, don't know how long that's going to go on for, so depending on when you're watching this, you're still going to want to double check that just in case. You can never be, it's better to be safe than sorry. Talking about safety, we know that's one of the big concerns, especially if you have kiddos, is the crime rates and what's going on with safety. And sometimes I get questions all the time, like, hey, how safe are these areas? Honestly, first off, I can't even speak on safety because I don't even live in specific areas that you guys mentioned to me even in the past. But I can always recommend and having you guys check out spotcrime.org, which they essentially report the crimes. But if you don't think that's a valuable or even credible source, then you can also use the Raleigh, North Carolina, I guess the police department put this together, where they have reported crimes, and you can go ahead and check that out to see. I think those are going to be the best resources rather than me sharing anything, because again, some of these areas that you guys want me to give you insight on, I'm not living there, so it's like, you know, what is really going on there? I know just as much as you do sometimes. And I hope giving you guys the resources to be able to find these kind of answers that you guys are looking for is extremely helpful in helping you not make a mistake in moving, whether it's to the wrong area or choosing the wrong home in the wrong area. And if you're relocating, don't be that individual, you know, a couple of months later say, all right, this place is boring, so I don't want to be here. Don't be that person, because it could be just a culture shock that you may be experiencing. It is a little bit different from, you know, most of the places at least I've visited. So it's something that this is why I always recommend just visit once, twice. It's just highly recommended so you can see for yourself. Yes, you can live through my experiences. You can do everything in the book, but there's nothing like your own. And, you know, quite frankly, if you're too concerned with traffic or just commuting, getting around, I mean, public transportation is not the best, so just rely on yourself. If you want to know what that looks like, Google Maps is actually a great resource that you can see what live traffic looks like on a regular basis. You just got to really be on the ball when it comes to that one. But if you want to hear more, watch this video next where I talk about the things that people regret about moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. But just as much as I enjoy making these videos for you guys, my name is Roney Polynice and I am a licensed realtor here. So I would love nothing more but the opportunity to be able to assist you with your relocation needs. So you see that number that is popping up right there? Make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember one thing: I got your back in this market.